Hello, welcome to another technical episode of Downhill Smooth Tarmac. We're back here in the workshop and as per usual we're going to build a bike. Full disclaimer, I had no intentions until a couple of days ago of building another budget retro 26er mountain bike into gravel bike build. It was not on my agenda. But one of you viewers saw it differently, and just because you live local you knew you could pique my interest, Jay. A viewer called Jay contacted me to say would I be interested in buying a couple of frames off him that he was getting rid of. As soon as I saw the size of this GT and the colourway, I thought, yes, I am your man. I've also got another Marin, an Eldridge that's even older. That's going to be coming in here soon at some point. Anyway, but back to the GT. Jay actually thought this would need a full coat of paint. It's got touch-ups, it's got scratches, doesn't matter. I've given it a cut and polish already ahead of the build so that it's ready to build up. I think it's going to look spanking. Got loads of XT to put on it. I've got like 3 generations of XT that I'm going to put on, mix it up. And stay tuned because I'm doing something slightly different, and that's in the brakes. Because everyone puts Canties on because yeah, they look pretty, yeah, they work great. What about the humble V-brake? Why not? Let's do one this time. 26er MTB into a gravel bike, V-brakes, 2x9 speed. Roll the credits because I just want to build it. I want to ride it. Okay, so full disclosure, I knew I had a set somewhere. I've actually got a set of rigid GT Chromo forks here that are going to fit this build perfectly. These have also been cleaned and polished as best I can. First job, let's grease up. Using my standard Shell grease from the aviation industry, purely because this stuff will survive any British winter. Previous owners even been so kind as to give this to me clean. All the bearings were lovely and clean. Don't get that very often. Normally when I buy a used frame it looks like it's been in the canal. Lovely FSA headset. That is smooth. Smooth. This FSA is an early 1/8" headset. So I'm going to stop it about there. Ready for some spacers. And what I'm going to do is, because it's a retro mountain bike and the geometries are always a bit squiffy, I'm going to put plenty of spacers and then I'm going to add the bars and the stem to that point. Here's what we've got. Salsa stem on 1 midge bars, my old favourites. This set actually has come off my old commuter touring gravelly type thing. It's come off that. Love this bar and stem combo, they're just so sleek looking. Next up, it's time to put some cranks on. This build is rocketing together. And we've got another old friend. You might recognise this from the DeRosa build. It's the original chain set I put on there, 4432. Wasn't enough for that bike with it being 700C and road orientated. It's also been on the same bike that those bars and stem came off, so it's in good hands. STX cranks, strong light chain rings, going on. And because they were polished up for the DeRosa video, they actually look really nice. More about it. Let me talk these up. There we go. So let's get a rear derailleur on here. Gone for some more recent XT. I think this has had a hard time, but it'll be alright. Front derailleur is going to be Dior LX, not XT. previous owner wasn't lying when he said that this bottom bracket was nice. It's lovely. As is the case with all of these builds, it's wheel time. A lovely set. Mavic X138 charged splashbacks. Charged splashbacks. Does anybody remember these? I do. Love them. Let's put these wheels in. Oh man, the reason why I'm excited about this rear hub is, I don't know whether anybody remembers these. I think Shimano is trying to bring this back. Silent clutch rear mech. Look at that rear mech, rear hub. Silent clutch. Beautiful. Going in. Coming in hot! I do love Mavic rims from this era. They're just timelessly cool. Okay, so this beastie is really starting to come together. It's so pretty, look at it. Tan walls, green paint, black forks, shiny XT bits. It is looking fantastic. And this is where we're going to go now. A little bit curveball. We're going to stay away from canties. I'm going to go with the humble linear pull V-brake, which you don't see a lot of anymore unless you buy a hybrid bike. Managed to find these XT. Very, very nice. I'm going to take the wheel back out. It's just going to make life a little easier. Before we do anything, grease up the outside. Just don't get grease on threads because we don't want that. Placing the brake on, I'm going to use the middle hole. It's going to give me the right tension. Well, hopefully give me the right tension. There's always room to go either way for more tension or less. Okay, pop bolts in the top there. Give them a tighten up. You're talking these up, looking for 8 Newton meters, between 7 and 8 anyway. Check got tension, job's good. Okay, next up, before we move on to the front, I'm going to put the wheel in and check the pad alignment and that all important towing as well. Pop the wheel through, back in to make sure the wheel is straight and in the dropouts where it should be. Tighten it up, hold it and clamp it. When you pull the lever in, I'm looking for the pad to meet evenly for a start. So loosen it off, make sure it's at the top of the range, and then basically you want to tow it in by moving the lever in the direction of the wheel. So just use the Allen key just to push it and then tighten it. Support the pad, you should have proper tow. That's great. Grease up. Don't need a lot. Placing on, aiming to put that pin in the middle. There we go. Same for this one as well. There we go. Lovely. Smashing. Put them in place. Let's get that front wheel in. Do that all important pad adjust and tow. That's fine, that one's done. Both done. Lovely. Smashing, that's what we like. Okay, let's go fit the build. Got a couple of options for chains for this build, so if this one doesn't work, we've got another. This one is a little newer. This chain is a little slack. The B-limit screw here is all the way out, so we're just going to put some more tension in that way first. Hopefully that's going to help us. Yeah, there we go. Just want as much chain as we can get away with for now. Perfect. Not going to be rolling small to small, but this is where I want to be to start with. So with that chain on, I can now just have a little listen to that silent clutch, which is so weird. There's no clicking, as it runs through, nothing. Really cool. Other thing we need to check while we're here is the limits. Make sure we're up and down the block, ready for the next stage, which is always going to be cables. Now, we're actually going to do brake cables first, purely and simply because with these older shifters, the old Sora and that kind of thing, the gear cable comes out of the side, which is great for on-the-fly adjustment. It's great for winter bikes and bikes that get muddy. However, it makes it more difficult to fit the internally routed brake cable in because they're in the way. So, first things first, let's going to start with the front brake, then the back brake, and then on to the gears. So, don't need them, do need these. Let's do it. Brake. Let's snip this. This is one of these double-ended cables. It's got both ends. So, ball end, which is for road brakes, barrel end, which is for mountain bikes and hybrids. I'm going to snip that one off. It's worth noting on this build, we're going for these are stainless cables. These will give you better life and better shifting and better braking. Make sure to pull it through and seat it. It has to be cut to fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it roughly in place. I'm going to run it down the inside of the bar, and this has got to come down and meet a noodle for the V-brake about here. Just going to snip it like that, and then we're going to check because we want to make sure we haven't obscured the ends. So we want to make sure that a cable runs through and that any of the metal that isn't right, you can just snip, just tidy up. You can use an old spoke as well if you want to get the liner open. What we'll do with this one, just going to thread the cable through, and then we're going to put a noodle on the other end. You'll notice there's no metal end on this. With your brake cables, you'll put metal end stops, not on the shifter end for these. Okay, here we go. So this other end, going with they're actually plastic on this, which is nice. Got an end there, and then we've got a noodle. This is going to be what gives us the angle for the V-brake. So we're going to thread through there as well. These boots have a liner inside, which has a lubricant in it to help with braking performance, keep it nice and smooth. And all we're going to do for a start is pop it through into the brake and then across the back of the V-brake here. Line it up. There is no boot with this kit. To be quite honest, they harbour dirt and dust and water, so if you don't like them, you don't have to put them on anyway. Oh, no, this brake. Oh, hello. Not the best bolt there on this. This is a second-hand set of brakes, but they are, other than that, good. What I'm going to do is, now that's on tight, I'm just going to pull the lever to seat everything in. That should give us enough leeway there. Okay, next job, take that cable up. Begins the process of just adjusting this brake up a little bit. Now it's too tight at the moment, we can't balance it at that level. So we need to give it enough room because we want to be able to pull this out to take the front wheel out. At the minute, that's about right there. Now, one thing I have noticed straight away is the cable line. This line here is no good. We want a straight line. We want this. So, what we can do is just adjust the angle of the noodle a tiny bit. Just by giving it a gentle bend. So it sits like that. It's already coming into a nicer shape. Could also look at just shortening the cable a touch. I think I'd forgotten something, and that was to add an inline barrel adjuster to these brakes, because with a V-brake, a linear pull, normally it'd have a flat lever, which would have an adjuster on it at the end for when the pads wear out. So I've just quickly changed that over. I've got a nicer cable line with that as well. Got it the length I want it, it's taped in and it is working fine. Primarily I want it to feel good from the hood at the top, and that is fine for me. So onto the back one, where I think it's going to get a little bit more interesting. Top tip with these levers, by the way, if you pull the shifter in that way, gives you a much easier angle to thread cable through, because these things can be a bit of a pig. Right. That goes up into there. And that into there. Oh, what a route! What a routing! Right. And I can officially tell you without question that that doesn't work. That brake is now working. The feel isn't amazing, but it's got the power. It's there, it works. It stops the back wheel and it isn't catching. I'm happy enough with that. In the end, solution was change the pads, put different pads into it. So sometimes try the simplest things first, put a more quality pad in, and it seems to stop it better. So now on to something that we know is going to work, that is the gears, and then this bike is done. But before we put those external gear cables on, I'm going to do some bar tape. And final step for this bike is to put the gear cables in. So we're going to start off by putting the gear inners into each side, then we're going to do the outers, get them all through to the derailleurs, set it up, bosh, done. Here we go. Make sure that the shifter is all the way down at its lowest setting. Yep, that's working lovely. Feed it in. There we go. Before you get any further, always pull the cable through, make sure it's all the way down, work the lever, make sure it's moving freely. Last thing you need is to be fighting a jammed cable. For the outers at the front, I have got 2 inline adjusters that are going to be needed. We're going to need those because there's no adjustment at the back end of the bike. Going to offer up a nice graceful arc from the shifter to the bike. So cutting it there. Try and get them as close to the same length as possible. It's good for the fake. And then offer one up and decide where you want the inline to go. It's just going to be somewhere at the top, about there for each one. I'm going to use the shortest part first so that the barrel adjuster's nice and close to the levers, so if we want to do some on-the-fly adjustments while we're hitting that trail. Right, the cable's routed. The next job is to tighten up the rear gear cable. Next thing is going to be really simple. I'm going to spin it up and I'm going to click the gear shifter once and look for it to move. I'm going to move to the barrel adjuster because I'm going to put tension in until it jumps up. Just trying to do it so you can see it on the camera there. What I'm looking for is click up, click down, basic Shimano. Front derailleur, same sort of thing. We've got it adjusted to the point where we want it, and we just basically want it so that it jumps between the two, because we're going for a 2x system. So I'm going to get the gear cable up through the bottom guide and into the bolt, under the bolt here, through the cable guide. Hopefully tighten it up. That has now been realigned, that hanger. It wasn't quite straight, so I think we've got it working. The only other thing I'm going to do is just give it a little bit of a spray with some penetrating oil, just to make sure, because this is old stuff, you know. It might just be a little bit stiff in the joints, so we're just going to get it moving again. Lift. 1 and 2. There it goes. Obviously it's just catching the 2. Oh, there we go. It's just dropped off the inside. So just a little trim up. But we're there. That's fine. Lovely. Okay. We'll just trim. And so there we have it, folks. With that, another video and another bike is done and dusted here at Downhill Smooth Tarmac. And doesn't it look absolutely awesome? I cannot wait to get out and give this thing a right good thrashing. I think it looks the business. It looks so good. That green pops. The parts choices. See how these V-brakes are going to fare? It's just a test. V-brakes are so unfashionable. Let's make them cool again. I don't know. They look all right. See what happens. Anyway, you'll have to wait for the test ride video. As always, that will be coming at a later date. So all that is left is for me to sign off and say that I hope that your next ride is downhill with smooth tarmac. Keep your wheels spinning, keep the rubber on the road, keep the knobblies on the trail. Most of all, be safe, look out for each other. And after you've took the time to like and subscribe, go ride your bike. Thanks for watching. Until next time.